The wind screamed across the broken land. Smoke covered the red sky like a dying flame. Shattered ships lay half buried in the ice, and the ground was filled with bodies, human and alien alike. Everything was silent except for the faint crackle of fire and the slow hiss of freezing air. Somewhere in the middle of this dead world, a man moved. His armor was burned, his helmet cracked, his oxygen low. The name written on his chest plate was Ryan Cross, a human soldier of the Earth Alliance. He opened his eyes slowly, blinking at the cold light. For a moment he didn't even remember his name. His body ached. His suit's warning light blinked red. Oxygen level critical. Heart rate unstable, Ryan groaned. He pushed a metal beam off his shoulder and looked around. His ship, the Vanguard, was gone, just black smoke and broken metal. His entire team, gone too. He was the only one breathing on this frozen battlefield. He tried to contact command, but his comms only gave static. He switched channels again and again, nothing. The war had ended for him and not in victory. As he staggered to his feet, a strange sound reached him. A faint, broken voice. It came through his damaged headset, soft, scared, and not human. "Help. Please. Trapped." Ryan froze. His heart jumped. A voice, out here? Impossible. Everyone was dead. He turned slowly toward the source. The signal came from the far ridge, beyond a field of broken alien machines. His HUD showed the direction, but the radiation level there was too high. No sane person would go, but the voice came again, weaker this time, filled with fear. "Please, someone, help me." Ryan's instincts screamed trap. The alien enemy had used fake distress calls before to lure humans into ambushes. But this voice, it sounded real. Too real. It trembled like someone truly in pain. He looked around at the empty battlefield. "If this is a trick," he muttered, "you picked the wrong man to fool." He loaded his plasma rifle and started walking. The snow crunched under his boots. The air shimmered with cold light. Every step hurt. Every breath felt like fire. Yet he kept going, guided by that broken voice. He passed the corpses of alien soldiers, tall, silver-skinned beings with glassy eyes and glowing armor. The Aelith, humanity's most feared enemy. Their blood was blue and it had frozen into shining crystals on the ice. Ryan whispered, "What a waste." Suddenly the ground shook. Something moved beneath the wreckage ahead. Ryan aimed his rifle, finger ready to fire. Then he saw her, a figure trapped beneath a fallen ship wing. Her body glowed faintly. Her skin pale blue like the ice around her. She was breathing, but barely. Her eyes opened slightly, revealing silver irises that shimmered even in the dark. Ryan knelt beside her. His scanner blinked. Aelith royal DNA detected. A princess, he hesitated. This was the kind of alien that had killed his team. Her kind had started this war. Every instinct told him to walk away, but when she tried to speak, her voice was so soft, so desperate that his heart froze. "Please, I don't want to die." Ryan clenched his jaw. "You already killed enough of my people," he whispered. Her eyes filled with tears. "Not me. I tried to stop them." Something in her voice broke the silence inside his mind. He remembered the faces of his fallen squad. The last words of his captain. "We fight to protect life, not destroy it." He sighed heavily. Damn it. He used his exogloves to lift the heavy metal wing off her body. The effort tore at his wounds, but he didn't stop. When the debris finally shifted, the princess gasped and coughed. Her body was shaking violently from the cold. Ryan tore a heating patch from his armor and pressed it against her skin. "Stay awake," he said. "You die, I wasted my last chance." She blinked at him weakly. "You are human." "Yeah, don't remind me." She gave a small smile before passing out. Ryan looked around. He could already hear distant rumbling. The alien hunters were returning to search for survivors. If they found her, they'd kill her. If they found him, they'd do worse. He grabbed his scanner again. There was an old underground tunnel nearby, probably from the earlier battles. It might lead to safety. He slung the princess over his shoulder, wincing from pain, and started running through the storm. Every step echoed across the frozen wasteland. Behind him, bright blue lights appeared in the sky. Enemy drones searching for heat signals. He ducked behind a crashed pod, breathing hard. His armor temperature system flickered. Warning, exposure detected. Enemy units inbound. He glanced at the unconscious alien in his arms. "Great," he whispered. "You better be worth dying for." The snowstorm thickened, hiding them from view as he disappeared into the darkness of the tunnels below. The tunnel was cold, dark, and endless. Ryan moved through the shadows, his breath turning into white mist inside his cracked helmet. The only light came from the faint blue glow of the alien princess in his arms. Every few seconds he looked back to make sure no one was following. The sound of distant engines still echoed above, enemy drones searching through the storm. He found a small metal door half buried in the ice. With one hard kick, it opened. Inside was an old war bunker, rusted walls, frozen air tanks, and the smell of death. But it was shelter. He laid the princess on a table made of old metal crates. Her breathing was weak but steady. Her glowing skin flickered like fading light. Ryan took off his helmet and crouched beside her. "Hey, wake up," he said softly. "You're not dying on me after I carried you through hell." Her eyes opened slowly. Silver light reflected in them like tiny stars. She looked confused. "You saved me." "Yeah," he said, rubbing his shoulder. "Still not sure why." She blinked, her voice soft and melodic even through pain. "Humans don't save Aelith. They kill us." Ryan gave a tired half-smile. "Maybe I missed the memo." There was a silence between them. The bunker creaked as ice cracked outside. Ryan scanned her vitals using his wrist device. Her heart rate was stabilizing. He poured her a small capsule of water from his ration pack. She stared at it like she'd never seen human food before. "You risked your life for me," she said. "Why?" Ryan leaned back, his eyes cold. "Because I couldn't leave someone behind. Doesn't matter what planet they're from." For the first time, she smiled. "You're strange for a human," Ryan smirked. "I get that a lot." Hours passed. Ryan repaired his broken armor using spare wires from the bunker. The princess watched him quietly. When she spoke again, her voice carried a quiet sadness. "My name is Lyra, daughter of Queen Sarath of Aelith." Ryan froze. His wrench dropped to the floor. "Wait, you're the queen's daughter?" She nodded slowly. The air in the bunker grew heavy. Ryan's heartbeat quickened. The queen, Sarath, was the one who had ordered the bombing of his ship, the one who wiped out his entire squad. And now, her daughter was sitting right in front of him. He stood up sharply, hand going to his rifle. "Why didn't you say that before?" Lyra's eyes widened in fear. "Please don't." Ryan took a step forward. "Your mother killed my people. You expect me to believe you're innocent?" Lyra shook her head desperately. "I tried to stop her. She wants to rule all species. She believes humans are dangerous. I begged her to make peace." Ryan's jaw tightened. "And she listened?" Lyra looked down, her voice breaking. "No, she said mercy is weakness. She sent ships to destroy your fleet, and she used my DNA to control them." Ryan lowered his rifle slowly. His anger turned into something heavier. Disgust, confusion, maybe even pity. He could see the truth in her trembling voice. "Why tell me this?" he asked. "Because now," she said, "you know who your real enemy is." Suddenly, the bunker's warning light flashed red. "Incoming signal detected." Multiple life forms approaching. Ryan cursed under his breath. "They found us." Lyra grabbed his hand. "They're not my guards. They're hunters. Assassins sent by the queen to silence me." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Then we fight." He quickly handed her a small plasma pistol. "Ever used one of these?" She looked at it like it was a strange toy. "No, but I'll try." The first explosion hit the outer wall. The whole bunker shook. Ice and dust rained down. Ryan rolled behind a steel crate as blue lasers tore through the door. "Stay low," he shouted. 3 tall alien hunters entered, silver armor, glowing red visors. Their weapons hummed with deadly light. Ryan fired first. The shot hit one in the chest, sending sparks into the dark. Lyra screamed as another aimed at her. Ryan tackled her to the ground just as a beam sliced past where her head had been. He pulled her behind cover. Now would be a great time to shoot back. She closed her eyes, focused, and squeezed the trigger. The pistol fired a wild bolt of energy that hit a pipe above them. Steam exploded, blinding the hunters. Ryan grinned. "Nice shot, accidental, but I'll take it." He jumped out from cover, firing quick bursts. One by one, the hunters fell. The bunker filled with smoke and silence once more. Ryan's armor smoked, his arm bleeding. He looked around. "All clear." Lyra crawled to him, eyes wide with shock. You killed them all," he shrugged. "They weren't exactly friendly." She touched his shoulder, her hand glowing faintly. The wound on his arm began to close. He stared at her in disbelief. "You can heal?" "Only a little," she said softly. My mother doesn't know I still have that gift. Ryan exhaled. Your mother's more dangerous than I thought. Lyra looked up at him with quiet determination. Then we stop her together. Ryan studied her face. She was still alien, still the daughter of his enemy, but something in her eyes told him she wasn't lying. He nodded slowly. All right, Princess. We do this your way. But if your mother shows up... Lyra finished his sentence with a small smile. We make sure she regrets ever coming for you. Outside, thunder rolled across the frozen wasteland as enemy ships began to land. The real war was only beginning. The sky burned with light. Giant alien warships drifted above the frozen planet like black angels of death. Their engines hummed, shaking the air with deep thunder. Inside one of those ships sat Queen Serath of Aelith, ruler of the Silver Empire, her eyes as cold as the stars themselves. She watched a hologram of the battlefield. Dead soldiers, broken ships, and somewhere among the ruins, her daughter alive and worse. With a human. Her voice was calm but sharp like a blade. Find them both, she said. The princess has betrayed her bloodline. And the human. Bring him to me alive. Her generals bowed in silence. The queen stood tall in her throne room, her long silver hair floating in the low gravity. Her armor gleamed, carved with ancient runes of power. She looked out into the endless dark of space and whispered, He will learn what it means to defy a queen. Far below in the icy tunnels, Ryan and Princess Lyra hurried through the ruins of the old cities buried under the snow. The air was colder here, heavy with dust and memory. Ryan held a scanner in one hand, a rifle in the other. We can't stay in one place too long. Your mother's ships are everywhere. Lyra nodded, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. There's a teleport gate ahead. If we can reach it, we can escape this world. Ryan raised a brow. And go where? To the rebel moons, she said quietly. There are Aelith who no longer serve my mother. They want peace with humans. They can help us, Ryan gave a small, dry laugh. Peace, huh? Doesn't sound real in this galaxy. Lyra smiled faintly. Neither does a human saving an alien princess. But here we are. They kept walking until they reached a massive underground chamber. It was beautiful. Walls covered in glowing blue veins of energy like frozen rivers of light. In the center stood an ancient teleport gate, half buried in ice. Ryan stepped closer. This thing still works? Lyra placed her hand on a crystal panel. It flickered, then slowly came alive. It will. My blood can activate it. Before Ryan could respond, his communicator beeped. He froze. Static filled his helmet, then. Human soldier Ryan Cross. This is Queen Serath. Ryan's blood ran cold. Lyra's hand trembled. Don't answer her, she whispered. Ryan hesitated, but the voice continued anyway, cold and smooth like poison. You have something that belongs to me, human. My daughter. And my patience, he clenched his fists. I didn't steal her. I saved her. The queen's laugh echoed through the signal. Saved, you destroyed my honor. You touched royal blood. You will die for that mercy. Lyra shouted, Mother! Stop this, humanity is not your enemy. The queen's voice turned sharp. Silence, child. You speak like a traitor. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. You killed thousands even when they begged for peace. You turned Aelith into monsters. The queen's tone softened, but it was more terrifying that way. My sweet daughter, you don't understand. The galaxy only respects power. And now you stand beside weakness, Ryan cut in. You call me weak? Come down here and find out. The queen's voice dropped to a whisper. Soon, human. Very soon. The signal ended with a hiss. Lyra stood in silence. Her hands shook as she looked at Ryan. She'll destroy this planet just to kill us. Ryan nodded grimly. Then we move now. They ran to the teleport gate. Lyra entered her DNA code into the control crystal. The rings of the gate began to spin, releasing waves of blue light that painted the chamber like a dream. Just as they stepped forward, the ground exploded behind them. Alien soldiers stormed in, silver armor, long energy spears, glowing eyes. Go! Ryan shouted, firing at the attackers. Plasma bolts lit up the air. Lyra hesitated. What about you? I'll cover you. Ryan's rifle roared. He shot down 2 soldiers, then ducked behind the gate as explosions tore through the ice. Lyra screamed, Ryan, come with me. But before he could move, an energy blast hit the wall near him. He fell hard, his armor smoking. The teleport gate pulsed brighter and brighter. Lyra ran toward him, grabbing his arm. I won't leave you. He gritted his teeth. Then we both die here. Lyra stared into his eyes, desperate. Trust me. She placed her glowing hand on his chest plate. The light spread through his armor, wrapping both of them in a bright blue aura. The teleport gate flared, and they vanished just as the Queen's troop stormed in. Far above, on her ship, Queen Sarath watched the energy readings disappear from her sensors. Her smile faded. They escaped, said her general. The Queen's eyes darkened. No, they only ran into my web. She turned toward the stars and whispered, He thinks he saved my daughter, but soon, I will make him mine. The teleport gate spat out two figures in a flash of blue light. Ryan hit the ground hard, gasping for air. Lyra landed beside him, glowing faintly against the red sand. The air here was thick, warmer than the frozen wasteland they'd escaped. Strange twin moons hung in the dark sky, and lightning danced across distant mountains. Ryan groaned. Where are we? Lyra stood, scanning the horizon. The rebel moon. Alien Prime. My mother doesn't control this place yet. Ryan looked around. In the distance, metallic towers rose from the desert like silent sentinels. He could see lights moving, fighters, camps, hidden structures half buried under rock. You sure your rebels are friendly? Lyra gave a faint smile. If they aren't, we'll know soon. Before she could finish, shadows appeared, figures in dark cloaks holding strange plasma bows. They surrounded them quietly. One stepped forward, his armor cracked and old, his voice deep. Princess Lyra of Aelith. We thought you were dead. Lyra bowed slightly. I was, until this human saved me. The alien warriors glanced at Ryan, their eyes cold. One hissed, A human? Here? Ryan lifted his hand slowly. Nice to meet you too. The leader raised his arm, signaling calm. If the princess trusts him, we will hear him. They led them into a hidden base carved into the cliffs. Inside, lights glowed from energy crystals and engineers worked on weapons and starships. The rebels were few but determined, Aelith soldiers who had turned against the Queen's rule. Ryan looked around in disbelief. So this is your resistance? Lyra nodded. These are the last free Aelith. They want peace between worlds. A tall alien female stepped forward, armor scarred, eyes burning with wisdom. I am General Thessa, she said. And if what you say is true, the Queen will soon come for us all. Ryan explained what had happened. The Queen's army, the teleport escape, and her growing plan to enslave every human colony. Thessa listened silently, then turned to Lyra. You brought a human soldier into our war. That alone may change everything, Lyra replied softly. That's why I did it. We need someone who thinks like them, someone who fights like a human. Ryan looked at her, surprised. You think I can help? Lyra smiled slightly. You've survived everything my mother threw at you. That's enough for me. For days, Ryan trained the rebels. He taught them how humans fought, how to use terrain, surprise, and teamwork. They learned quickly. Soon the empty desert echoed with drills, explosions, and laughter. Ryan stood on a ridge watching the rebels practice. Lyra approached him wearing light armor now. They listen to you, she said. He chuckled. That's because I don't sound like a queen. Lyra's smile faded. My mother will come soon. She can't allow this rebellion to live. Ryan turned to her. Then we hit her first, she frowned. You can't fight the Queen, Ryan. She commands fleets of ships. He pointed at the rebels below. Maybe not fleets, but enough hearts that won't bow down. That's how wars are won. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. You speak like someone who's lost everything. Ryan's eyes darkened. I have. That night the stars burned red. The rebels gathered around holographic maps. Thessa, Lyra, and Ryan planned their move, their goal. Destroy the Queen's energy relay, a massive tower orbiting nearby that powered her army's ships. Without it, her fleets would be blind. Ryan slammed a fist on the table. We strike before sunrise. Fast, loud, and unexpected, Lyra nodded. I'll go with you. Thessa hesitated. If something happens to you, Princess, Lyra's voice cut sharp. If I die, let it be fighting for something real. Ryan looked at her with quiet respect. You sound like one of us now. Before dawn, their ships launched into the blood-red sky. The rebel fleet was small but fearless. As they neared the Queen's tower, alarms began to wail. Energy shields flared. Here we go, Ryan muttered, gripping the controls. Explosions lit up the dark. Rebel fighters weaved through enemy beams. Ryan's ship spun close to the tower's core, landing on a narrow platform. He jumped out, blaster in hand. Lyra followed, her eyes glowing with determination. Inside the tower, alien guards swarmed. Ryan shot first, fast, precise, unstoppable. Lyra used her powers to bend energy shields and knock soldiers back. Together they fought like storm and flame, almost there. Ryan shouted. They reached the central core, a giant crystal glowing with the Queen's symbol. Ryan planted explosive charges. 5 seconds, he said, but before he could finish, a dark hologram appeared. The Queen's face. So, she said, her voice echoing coldly. My daughter stands with a human. Lyra's hands shook. Mother, please! No, you've already chosen your side! The hologram raised a hand and the tower began to shake. Alarms screamed. Ryan grabbed Lyra's wrist. Time to go. They ran. The explosion tore through the tower like thunder. Fire and debris filled the sky. Their ship barely escaped as the entire structure collapsed behind them. From space, they watched the tower fall, glowing like a dying star. Lyra turned to Ryan, eyes shining. You did it, Ryan smiled faintly. We did it, but the smile didn't last. On the ship's radar, dozens of enemy signals appeared, massive battleships approaching fast. The Queen's fleet had arrived. The Queen's fleet came like a storm. From the edge of space, 1,000 silver warships broke through the darkness, their engines glowing like dying suns. The air around the rebel moon trembled. Lightning ripped across the sky as if the heavens themselves feared the Queen's arrival. Inside the rebel base, alarms screamed. Soldiers ran through metal corridors, loading weapons and preparing ships. Ryan stood in the command room, staring at the hologram of the enemy fleet. She's here, he said quietly. Lyra stepped beside him, her face pale under the blue light. My mother won't stop now. She'll burn this moon just to get us. Ryan turned to her, voice steady but cold. Then we make her regret coming. He slammed his hand on the control panel. Everyone to battle stations! The battle began like thunder. Rebel ships launched into the sky, engines roaring. Laser fire lit up the dark like red rain. The Queen's warships moved in perfect formation, disciplined, merciless. Ryan's fighter darted between explosions, plasma cannons flashing. He barked orders into his comms. Left flank, keep moving. Don't let them surround you. Lyra's voice came through the radio, calm and brave. Ryan, they're targeting the main base. We have to stop the destroyer. On it, Ryan replied, spinning his ship toward the largest enemy vessel. The Queen's destroyer was massive, a floating city of death. He flew low, dodging enemy fire. Hang on, Lyra, I'm going in close, her voice crackled. Ryan, that's suicide. He grinned. Then I'll die doing something useful. Ryan's ship dove through the destroyer's defenses. He blasted open a vent and forced his way inside, sparks flying. Inside, alarms echoed as he sprinted through metal corridors filled with smoke. He planted charges near the reactor core, setting the timer to 30 seconds. Come on, he muttered. The reactor hummed louder, glowing bright. Suddenly, an explosion shook the hall behind him. He turned and froze. Standing there was a holographic figure, the Queen herself projected from a drone. Her eyes glowed like burning stars. Human, she said softly, you cannot win. You were meant to die on that frozen planet. Ryan aimed his blaster. Guess death didn't want me either. You think you've saved my daughter, she said. You've only doomed her. Ryan fired, but the hologram vanished before the bolt hit. The timer beeped. He ran. The explosion followed him, ripping through the corridor in a wave of fire. His body slammed into the wall, armor cracking. The world blurred. He crawled toward the exit, blood filling his mouth. Through the smoke, he saw the stars and Lyra's ship descending fast. She landed beside the burning wreck. The moment she saw him, her heart froze. Ryan lay on the ground, unmoving, his armor blackened. She ran to him, dropping to her knees. Ryan, wake up! He didn't answer. His pulse was weak. His face was pale beneath the cracked helmet. Tears filled her eyes. No, please no. She pressed her glowing hands against his chest. A soft blue light spread across his body, sealing wounds and mending broken ribs. But it wasn't enough. Her power was fading. Don't you dare die, human, she whispered, her voice trembling. You saved me once. Let me save you now. Her tears fell on his armor, glowing as they touched his skin. The energy spread wider, brighter, her life flowing into his. The pain struck her like lightning, but she didn't stop. Memories flashed through her mind, his smile, his stubbornness. the way he never gave up even when everything was lost. "Stay with me, Ryan." Finally, his chest rose. He coughed weakly, eyes blinking open. "You look like hell." Lyra laughed through her tears. "You should see yourself," he groaned, trying to sit up. "The destroyer?" She helped him up. "Gone, you did it." Ryan looked at her, realizing how weak she was. "You used your energy to heal me, didn't you?" She smiled faintly. "You humans are too fragile. Someone has to keep you alive." He shook his head. "You shouldn't have done that." "You'll die." Lyra touched his cheek gently. "If I die saving you, then I die free." Her body wavered. The light in her skin dimmed. Ryan caught her as she fell into his arms. "No," he whispered. "You're not leaving me now." He lifted her and carried her back to the ship as fire rained from the sky. The rebel moon burned behind them, but he didn't look back. Inside the cockpit, he laid her gently beside him. "Hold on, princess. You're going to make it." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Ryan, promise me one thing, anything. If I don't wake up, don't stop fighting her. Don't stop believing that peace is possible." He gritted his teeth. "You'll wake up. I'll make sure of it." Her eyes fluttered closed. The ship shook as another explosion hit nearby. Ryan grabbed the controls, his jaw tight. "Hang in there, Lyra!" Outside, the Queen's fleet surrounded the burning moon, their weapons charging. Ryan's ship dove into the chaos, engines screaming. He was outnumbered, outgunned, but he didn't care. The human who defied death once would do it again. Darkness. Silence. A slow heartbeat echoed in the void. Ryan opened his eyes to blinding light. He wasn't in the cockpit anymore. The smell of smoke and metal was gone, replaced by soft air and a faint scent of silver flowers. His body didn't hurt. In fact, it felt perfect. He sat up slowly and froze. He was lying on a smooth white bed inside a massive golden chamber. Walls shimmered like starlight, and strange alien symbols pulsed faintly in the air. Outside the transparent wall, he could see a planet below, blue oceans and swirling storms. He realized where he was. The Queen's palace. "Welcome back, human." The voice was smooth, deep, and dangerous. Ryan turned. Queen Sarath stood at the edge of the room, her silver armor shining like liquid light. Her long hair floated gently as if space itself bent around her. Her eyes glowed softly, too beautiful, too deadly. Ryan instinctively reached for his weapon. It wasn't there. He clenched his fists. "Where's Lyra?" The Queen smiled faintly. "Safe, for now. You have my gratitude for keeping her alive." Her voice was calm, but something in her tone made his skin crawl. "You should thank her," Ryan said sharply. "She's the reason I'm not dead." The Queen took a step closer. "Yes, my daughter has a soft heart. That weakness comes from me." Ryan glared at her. "You call love a weakness?" "Love," she said, circling him slowly, "is a chain. It binds the strong to the foolish." Ryan held her gaze. "Funny. I thought chains were your specialty." For a moment, the Queen's eyes darkened, but then she smiled again. "Still defiant. Even standing before me. That's what makes you different." He tried to move, but invisible energy held him in place. His body tensed. The Queen raised her hand, and the force around him eased slightly. "You're not my prisoner, Ryan Cross. You're my guest." "Guest?" He scoffed. "You destroyed my ship, killed my people, and kidnapped me. That's a strange way to treat guests." Her smile widened. "You misunderstand. You're not here as a prisoner. You're here because I chose you." Ryan frowned. "Chose me for what?" The Queen touched a crystal panel on the wall. A hologram appeared, his DNA pulsing with strange symbols. "When you destroyed my tower," she said, "the explosion merged your blood with my daughter's healing energy. Your DNA changed." He stared at the hologram in shock. "Changed how?" "It now carries something no human or Aelith has ever possessed. A balance between chaos and control." "You are evolution." Ryan shook his head. "I'm just a soldier." She stepped closer, her voice soft and hypnotic. "You're more than that now. You have the power to command life and death itself. With you by my side, I can create a new empire, stronger, eternal." He took a step back. "You're insane." "Perhaps," she said, her silver eyes glowing brighter. "But tell me, human, don't you want peace? No more wars, no more death. Just unity under one rule, ours." Ryan's jaw tightened. "You mean your rule?" The Queen smiled sadly. "You think too small. I don't want to rule alone. Before he could react, she placed her hand on his chest. Energy surged through him, warm, powerful, terrifying. He gasped as visions filled his mind. Galaxies burning, armies kneeling, her beside him on a throne of light. "Stop," he managed to whisper. Her voice echoed in his mind. "We could end this endless war. Together. You, the human who defied death. And I, the queen who commands it." Ryan fell to his knees, breathing hard. "I'll never join you." The queen's expression softened. "You say that now, but your heart already doubts." She leaned close, her voice almost gentle. "You feel it, don't you? My daughter's touch still burns inside you. The power she gave you, it's part of me too. You can't separate us." He looked up at her, furious. "You think power can make me your puppet? You don't know humans." Her smile faded. "I know enough. You fight for love. You die for it. And you'll fall because of it." She turned away, her cloak shimmering like liquid metal. "Take him to the lower chamber," she ordered her guards. "Let him see what happens when love turns to ashes." They dragged Ryan through dark corridors filled with glowing runes. The air grew colder, heavier. In the center of a vast room lay a stasis capsule, and inside it Lyra, unconscious and pale, and tubes of blue light ran from her body into the walls. Ryan's blood ran cold. "What are you doing to her?" The queen appeared beside him again, calm and radiant. "Preserving her. Her energy keeps the palace alive. A fitting use for a traitor." Ryan lunged forward, but the guards held him back. "You monster!" The queen tilted her head. "Monster? No, visionary. You see, Ryan, I don't destroy what I love, I transform it." She leaned close, her words soft and venomous. "You have one choice left, human. Serve me, and she lives. Refuse, and she becomes dust." Ryan stared into her eyes, those cold, beautiful eyes that hid galaxies of pain. "You'll have to kill me first." The queen's smile returned, sad but certain. "Oh, I will, if that's what it takes to make you mine." The palace shook as alarms blared through its golden halls. Red lights flashed across crystal walls and the floor trembled under Ryan's feet. Somewhere deep in the ship, explosions echoed like thunder. The rebellion had found them. The queen's empire was burning. Ryan's wrists were bound by glowing restraints, but his eyes were sharp, alive with fury. Across the chamber, Lyra still floated inside the stasis capsule, her pale face framed by wires of blue light. Her energy pulsed weakly, keeping the queen's ship alive. He whispered, "Hold on, princess, I'm coming." The door hissed open and 2 alien guards entered. Ryan stood perfectly still. As one approached, Ryan kicked forward, smashing his heel into the guard's knee, twisting his body in one brutal motion. The alien fell with a crash. Ryan grabbed the fallen blaster and fired before the second could react. The restraints on his wrists shattered. Smoke filled the corridor. Ryan stumbled toward Lyra's capsule, his breath ragged, his body still weak from the queen's earlier torment. He pressed his hand against the glass. "Wake up, Lyra. I need you." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, her eyelids fluttered. A faint glow spread across the capsule. Her lips moved, barely a whisper. "Ryan?" He smiled through the pain. "Yeah, it's me. Time to go home." He smashed the console beside the pod, breaking the power tubes. The blue energy snapped and hissed. The glass shattered, and Lyra collapsed into his arms. But before they could move, the air grew colder. A familiar voice drifted through the smoke. Calm, powerful, impossible to ignore. "You never learn, human." The queen appeared at the far end of the chamber, stepping through the mist like a goddess made of fire and light. Her armor glowed red, her eyes burning with fury. "You destroy my fleet, you steal my daughter, and yet you think you can escape me?" Ryan stood between her and Lyra, holding his blaster tight. "I don't think. I know." The queen raised her hand, and the walls around them came alive, energy twisting like chains. Ryan fired, but the bolts dissolved in midair. The Queen moved closer, her voice echoing in the chamber. You were given power, Ryan Cross. Power to become more than human. But you waste it fighting me. Ryan gritted his teeth. You talk too much. He reached for his wrist device and slammed his fist on the floor. The energy Lyra had given him long ago, the same strange spark the Queen feared, flared inside his veins. His body glowed with white fire. The Queen's eyes widened. Impossible. He charged forward. The air cracked as their powers collided, her red lightning against his white flame. The shockwave shattered the chamber. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. Ryan felt every nerve in his body burn, but he didn't stop. He fought like a man who had nothing left to lose. Each punch shook the air. Each blast of light pushed her back. You can't win, she shouted. Ryan's voice was raw, desperate. I already did, the moment I stopped being afraid of you. He slammed his glowing fist into the ground. The floor cracked, and a surge of light erupted upward, breaking the Queen's hold. Her armor fractured. Her crown fell. She staggered, her voice trembling. You think this ends me? Ryan stepped closer, exhausted but unbroken. No. It ends us. The war. The hate. The madness. The Queen looked at him. Truly looked. And for a moment the fire in her eyes faded. You sound just like her, she whispered. Lyra, weak but awake now, raised her hand from the floor. A soft blue light wrapped around them both. Mother, she said softly, tears in her voice. Please, let it end. The Queen's face softened. Pain filled her expression. For a heartbeat, she almost looked human. Then, with a faint smile, she whispered, So be it. She pressed her hand to her chest, releasing a burst of pure energy. The light swallowed everything. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was lying on a metal floor. The palace was gone, broken, burning, falling through space. Fire and debris filled the air. He looked beside him. Lyra was there, breathing weakly but alive. Ryan, she whispered. She's gone. He looked up. Outside the shattered hull, a dying sun glowed red, pulling the wreckage into its light. No, he said softly. She saved us. They climbed toward an escape pod half buried in debris. The metal groaned as they sealed it shut. As the pod launched away, the Queen's palace fell into the star below, bursting into a brilliant flash that turned night into day. Lyra watched in silence, tears shining on her cheeks. She wanted power all her life. In the end, she chose peace. Ryan nodded, his hand resting on hers. Maybe even monsters can change. She smiled faintly. You're proof of that, human. He chuckled weakly. Guess I am. Weeks later, the rebel moons were free. The war was over. Ryan stood outside the new Aelith temple, watching the sunrise over a peaceful world. Lyra approached, wearing a silver crown. Not of war, but of hope. The new Queen of Aelith, he said with a smirk. Looks good on you. She smiled softly. And what about you, Ryan Cross? The man who defied death twice. What will you do now? He looked at the horizon, where two suns rose together. Maybe I'll finally rest. Or maybe I'll find the next world that needs saving. Lyra's eyes shimmered. Then wherever you go, may the stars remember your name. He turned to her, smiling. And may they never forget yours, princess. The wind blew softly. The light grew warmer. As Ryan walked toward the ships waiting, beyond the hills, Lyra whispered to the stars, He defied death to save me once, and again to save us all. The scene faded into the golden light of dawn, and somewhere in the silence of space a faint whisper lingered. You were mine, human.